YouTube, as we talked about, YouTube, monetize your video. Some of this is going to be on YouTube. I'm going to edit it, and I'm going to say boom, boom, boom. This was Jere B, Kevin Amos's Each One Reach One Music and Radio Conference, 1, 2, 3. Just like we did, I was down there when he interviewed me with my camera. I put it up on the website. I put it up on YouTube. And anything that you have original, now you can monetize that through Google's partnership with them. Reverb Nation, very, very important. Reverb Nation is like a second website. Very important, vital. Have any of you heard of Sonic Bids?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Sonic Bids is cool, but I think Reverb Nation gives you the ability to customize what you want to do and what you want to say more. So I use their service a lot. And LinkedIn, I found really is, right now, as we talk about Facebook and others, is the only true networking site amongst music professionals and amongst musicians. I've sent stuff out on Facebook through message, and yeah, maybe you get a response. Always getting responses through LinkedIn, because all of that filler stuff is cut out of the way. Hey, you are a piano player. I have a song that I would really love for you to come into the studio and do a solo. Hey, no problem. You know what I mean? So you definitely, if you're not on LinkedIn, you definitely want to get there. Helpful sites, and we're coming down to the last 2 slides. Ariel's publicity, write it down. Google Ariel. Just Google her name. And she's a PR person. Cyberspace is the other website that she controls. A lot of valuable information from Ariel's site. Bob Baker's The Buzz Factor. I wouldn't be standing here right now if it wasn't for Bob Baker 10 years ago, who was saying, you need to do this. Do you know how to write a press release? Do you know how to put a press kit together? Have you considered this? Have you done this? Buzz Factor is all the juice. Indie Bible. You want to get the Indie Bible. It's the largest PDF file that your computer can hold for all of the clubs, all of the journalists. It's just huge. It is the Bible of the music industry, and I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm consulting it just about every week. And then indiemusic.com is another one. And then books, helpful books. If you haven't read Berry Gordy's To Be Loved, you have no right to be here. You gotta read it. You gotta put it on your #1. I must read this book. How he built Motown is from the founder, from the owner. It's just, oh my God. You know, now of course, after it came out, you know, some 6 months after, some of his artists took issue with, you know, he didn't tell the story right or whatever. I understand it, I get it. But hearing his heart from getting off that assembly line and going and creating a music industry that still changes the world today, I still rock the Temptations today. You understand what I mean? It's just, how could you not want to get inside his head and know what he's talking about? This Business of Music, if you like law books, you'll love Chamel's book, This Business of Music. I don't read it cover to cover, haven't in the last 12 years since it was out, but anything that I need, and they continually update it. So that's a huge book. The Self-Promoting Musician, anything by Peter Spellman, you want to make sure that you have in your collection. Anything. This is just one of the books that he's written. He's from Berkeley, professor at Berkeley, and just real practical steps so that you won't hit your head up side the wall that many times. Yes, sir.
Berkeley School of Music or Berkeley University, California?
No, sir. Berkeley School of Music, Boston.
Massachusetts.
Yes, sir. Boston. Peter Spellman. Excellent. Making It in Music, Kenny Rogers. First book I ever read when I was in the 11th grade, South High School, 1982. And my bass player said, because I was coming in them, because Kenny Rogers, you guys know the country western singer, but he wrote it from the musician's perspective. And my bass player, Chris Rhodes, he was like, man, you know, you need to learn how to play them drums. You don't need to be reading this. But I knew that there was something about this music industry. If I wanted to survive, it was more than this. And Kenny Rogers, that's a great book today, even today. Just some of the concepts will help you. And Future Music, I would put that right up there with Berry Gordy. If you're not reading the Future of Music, and they have a website now, futureofmusic.org. They have legislation going on with Congress. They are really on the cutting edge of what's happening in the music industry. And then, of course, my favorite book, the Bible. I'm not trying to push my faith system on anybody here. If you don't want to read it as a spiritual book, read it as a book of wisdom. The book of Proverbs, if you're in business, 31 chapters in Proverbs. I read a proverb a day because just the integrity and how you handle yourself in business is in the Bible, and it works for me. So, you know, I put that up there as one of the most helpful books that have helped me as far as marketing is concerned. And that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, you know, I'll address them. If I don't know the answer, I'm not ashamed to say I don't know, but I'm always down with trying to find out who does, and I will get you an answer. And as I said, I'll pass around an email list. Hopefully you'll sign it, and we can keep in touch. Any questions?
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go. Thank you.
Okay. Earlier you talked about realizing who your competition was.
Yes, sir.
And when you realized it was higher, what did you do differently?
Priced ourselves higher.
Okay.
That was number one, and that was advice on our accountant. And here was the beautiful thing that happened. People paid it. Oh my God. I was scared. I remember when the guy, Youngstown, we was talking about Youngstown State University, and they were having this event, and hey, you know, we heard about your jazz, man, and cool, you know, well, how much do you charge? And I remember feeling like this frog in my throat, and I said the price. Oh yeah, sure. Really? It was like 4 times what we normally charge.
So you didn't even change quality at that point.
Here's the thing. We played one gig, same set. Okay? Same set. We were a good band. You know, and I'm not doing that to pat myself up, but we practice, we work at our craft. Good band. What's the difference? The level, the value that I put on it was the difference. Because if I kept it down here at 350, we could have played, and we did. Like 2006, 2007, we played every club we could possibly play. Because we're really not worth that much. But Sterling Williams, my accountant, said, you got to stop it. You might as well stay home. You should have stayed home and popped microwave popcorn. Because you didn't make any money.
There's also a psychological factor in that when you ask the higher price, I mean, when you ask what you figure to be a true price, your potential client is going to think, oh, this is really somebody.
Absolutely.
And then they will say, you know, I'll talk to my program committee or you know, an owner or whoever is in charge like that. And so I always start higher, and then, you know, if need be, for their purpose, for their, you know, financial purposes, I may come down, but I always start high.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, and I'm on the board of the Beaver Valley Musicians Union, Local 2545, and so I always start out, you know, asking per musician, you know, at least union scale.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you're right, and like I said, it did change. It changed how our audience thought about us too, because we started playing better gigs.
Yeah.
And so they saw us in better gigs.
Absolutely.
And not just, you know, in a situation where we could, you know, where they could take us or leave us. Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll be real brief, Kevin. This goes to what she was just saying too. In my contracts, when I used to, I don't do this anymore, although I might do it again. I used to travel around the country doing lectures on the role music played in building movements for social change. I used to go to Stanford, Wesleyan, all the Midwest schools, all that stuff. And I had a standard contract that said that this is how much this costs, but that was negotiable.
Yes, sir.
And in some cases, even when I did something for free, what I did is I put in the contract, this lecture costs $4,000, okay? But I have a waiver at the bottom of the contract. It says I am waiving this fee. But I let them know that they're getting $4,000 worth of something, even if it's getting to them for free.
Yes, sir.
So that's one of the things I learned. I learned that the hard way. But I did learn.
And to piggyback on that, the one thing that we did too was, as we began playing with other artists, like Bob Baldwin. As a matter of fact, Bob Baldwin remixed one of our singles, so it hit the Weather Channel. And so once we started playing with the higher caliber musicians, I can get that out, is the fact that we took a look at their riders and adjusted what we were doing. Because we had the basic rider here. We're going to show up at 3 o'clock, we're going to play, and you're going to pay us this. But we began to put those requirements in. Anybody else before Kevin kicks me off stage? I want to thank Kevin. I want to thank him because he makes these platforms possible, and I'm really grateful for the friendship that God has allowed us to develop and to nurture. All right. Anybody else? Thank you for your. Thank you.
I just think you did a great job on it.
Yeah.
You know, it was very informative. You know, you're very descriptive, and what I liked about it also was just the continual learning capacity that you're saying. You know, you have to read and everything else. Yeah. One thing I acknowledge many years ago, you know, one of my favorite places is the library. Yeah. You know, absolutely. I go out to get my books. Carnegie Libraries is some value. Penny's Library here, and I'll get books and everything else, and just on every subject, and it just increases your awareness and your knowledge of things because, you know, as you're stating, as you know the industry, you know where you can, you know, have your path, which way you're going, and I think that's a great process just to employ for anybody.
You know, one of the saddest things is Youngstown Main Library. There's a whole shelf of music books that remain there. For many times, I would, you know, I'd take them out, renew them, and when I'd have to put it back after 9 weeks, nobody gets them. Sad.
Okay, give Jere B a big round of applause.